This is a unique video because I got three things. I got how the Texans pulled off the impossible, how they almost pulled off the even more impossible, and then, but kind of got screwed, if I'm going to be honest. And then also, I am going to talk about how during the season they almost pulled off the impossible. So we've got a lot of impossibilities here on what is a definite offseason video for the Houston Texans. But if you're not familiar with this channel, we are Lions fans at heart, but we love the NFL, especially the smaller media market teams. So that is why we absolutely love doing Texans content on this channel. Every day you're going to find Texans content. There they are, right there. There's the Texans. All right. I wanted to make sure they got in view here, even though my Lions helmet is not. Interesting. I don't like that. All right. But anyways, let's talk about the thing that they did that was so rare. By now, you all know about it. Texans CJ Stroud won Offensive Rookie of the Year and also was just the Rookie of the Year. He was also just the Rookie of the Year. And then Defensive Rookie of the Year went to Will Anderson. So the Texans get on the podium as the best offense and defensive player. I think when you go back and you talk about, how do I want to put this? When you go back to the draft and they're trading up to get Will Anderson, and some of you still say you gave too much for him, some don't because, hey, he's Defensive Rookie of the Year. But this is the hope. Like, this is what you thought to yourself was the best case scenario, that you have the best offensive rookie in the draft and you have the best defensive rookie in the draft. And so I don't know why I'm saying rookie in the draft. Like, if they're in the draft, they're a rookie. Anyways, so you have the best offense and defensive player in the draft. That's what you're hoping. And you're hoping these guys are going to be cornerstones for your team for the next decade and more, right? And all signs are pointing to you nailed it, but you had to nail it. Because if you're the Texans and you don't get Stroud right and you don't get Anderson right, you just set your franchise back 5 years. Like, legitimately 5 years. If you get it right, you start competing soon. If you absolutely nail it along with the head coach, you do what you did. And that's exactly what they did. Here's the one thing you see on here, and this is another team we cover on this channel, the Browns. The coach of the year was head coach Kevin Stefanski. The Browns, Stefanski, and the Texans, Ryans, had the exact same amount of points. But Kevin Stefanski had 21 first-place votes to D'Amico Ryans' 20. You can't possibly have a closer coach of the year voting. It's impossible to be closer. And personally, I think it should have been both should have won coach of the year. If you're going to go there, I can go a little biased and talk about Dan Campbell too with the Lions. But, and I did in a video I did for the other channel, but with this, you know, D'Amico Ryans had a really good case to sweep it. All right. And get coach, quarterback, and defensive player. But let's look at how close the voting was. And I love going to other websites. So this is a Rams website, and their news story is Puka got second place, right? And they're trying to make it seem good that he got the attention of the award voters. Well, kind of. There's a 50-member panel of the media, and Stroud received 48 of the 50 first-place votes. He had 246 points through the voting system. Puka Nacua had 154. Truly remarkable. Truly remarkable. He absolutely killed it. The defensive player of the year was a little closer. Anderson was first. Jalen Carter got second. This is off an Eagles website. So Will Anderson had a total of 151 votes, and 122 went to Jalen Carter. Nobody else was really in this race. I think Kobe Turner, you could make the argument because he did get 14 first-place votes. The difference here for Anderson over Carter is that more people put him as number 2, whereas Carter didn't have as much. He had more third-place things, and he wasn't in any of them, in some of them. So it's kind of interesting. You wonder if some of those votes went to Kobe Turner just because of, similarities there. So these are all the things that the Texans pulled off that just made for a phenomenal year and made for a phenomenal last offseason. And I think that's why, as Texans fans, you should be so excited for another phenomenal offseason this year with even more money to spend, still have enough draft capital, because you see guys like Tank Dell that you got and many others, so you can be confident that you have a GM and coach that are aligned, that know how to find this talent together. Now, what about the story that I promised you, which was the almost impossible that happened during the year? All right. J.J. Watt went and shared that he considered unretiring to join the Texans. It actually wasn't just the Texans, though. All right. It was speculated all season. All right. Especially since Houston started to win games. But was there ever really a chance for J.J. Watt to come back? Here's what he said on Pat McAfee. He said, I absolutely am retired and I'm 1,000% done. ... I definitely was monitoring the Texans and Steelers situations this year, but nothing ever escalated. So here's what he said. Halfway through this last season, I definitely was monitoring it, but it never escalated to any sort of actual potential. All right. He added, I'm very pleased with the way things went. If it was something where I could have brought something that propelled someone to a potential Super Bowl, fill in a need to take them to a new level, just to do it would have been ridiculous. All right. So here's the thing. He was monitoring two teams because those were the two teams he would have wanted to go play with. Go play with his brother in Pittsburgh, or go play to the franchise that so loves him and that he played so well for so many years with the Houston Texans, even if there were some injury riddles at the end there, right? And he talked about would it work. Here's the issue, right? Neither team necessarily needed his services, all right, because he plays the same position as his brother. Of course, that would have been kind of crazy, right, to watch Watt and Watt on either end of the line. And the Texans, you guys had some players at defensive end doing pretty good yourself. And so if he could have come in as a defensive tackle, now we might have a different situation. But it is kind of amazing to think that he actually considered unretiring to come back. That's how good you were. That's how good this team was, that he was going to come out of retirement for not a large amount of money, put his body on the line for a chance at a Super Bowl. He thought about doing that with the Texans, with a first-year head coach and a first-year quarterback. That is your future, Houston. Live it up. Be excited. All right, hope you enjoy the content. We want to be your go-to source for Texans content and even other NFL. Please like and subscribe if you like what we're doing here, and hopefully we'll see you on the next video. Thanks for watching.